Viewers, quickly cutting across to the fresh breaking news that we're tracking. Delhi Police Commissioner Sanjay Arora has appeared before the probe panel in the Judge Cash scandal. He was present before the committee for 2 hours. In fact, prior to Arora, DCP Mahala's statement was also recorded for 4 hours in front of the same inquiry committee. The panel also recorded statements of additional DCP of the New Delhi district and the ACP of Chanakyapuri. Meanwhile, we also learn that Justice Yashwant Varma has taken oath as the Allahabad High Court judge on the 5th of April, that is today. However, this entire oath-taking ceremony was kept under the wraps and was done secretively, is what we've gotten to know. Justice Yashwant Varma has been administered the oath at the Allahabad High Court just today. However, the entire ordeal happened secretively, and this comes even after he has been accused of a massive cash scandal in his earlier tenure at the Delhi High Court. In fact, Justice Varma was given the oath amid protests over his transfer. Now remember, the High Court Bar Association from Allahabad, which is his parent court, came out for protests at first, saying against the transfer orders of Justice Yashwant Varma, which were given by the Supreme Court. In fact, questions over the oath-taking ceremony were recorded before as well, where the Supreme Court cleared its stand saying that only the oath will be administered and no judicial duties or work will be given to Justice Yashwant Varma. However, today, the oath has been administered to Justice Yashwant Varma in his parent court, which is the Allahabad High Court, and this entire ceremony was kept under the wraps. Republic has exclusively learnt that the oath was administered today. We're also being joined by Yashwant Shenoy, who is the president of the Kerala High Court Bar Association. Thank you so much for speaking to Republic. I want to understand, what is your first reaction to the fact that his oath has been administered under the wraps?
I think it is a complete assumption of the Indian Constitution, because I do not see any other government servant who is under an investigation to be even in service. You know, the normal course taken is immediate suspension. But in this case, forget about suspension. The person is transferred, and then he is now taking an oath, and the oath is to uphold the Constitution. So I have serious doubts about what the Supreme Court and the High Court of Allahabad is doing right now.
Right, sir. In fact, sir, I also want to understand two factors are at play here, where on one side, during the probe, the Delhi Police Commissioner has appeared before the probe panel, and on the other, an oath has been administered to the key accused in the case, which is Justice Yashwant Varma. In your opinion, do you think this is fair? And also legally, do you think this is a fair move to have been pulled?
From Delhi was to ensure that witnesses are not influenced. But now please see, this particular person who is an accused is now transferred to another place, and he is taking up the same post as that of a constitutional authority. You know, he is a High Court judge. So it's not a small post that we are pointing out. And I think this time the judiciary is shooting it at its own legs.
Right, Mr. Yashwant. In fact, I also want to understand what is your stand on this entire matter. We spoke to, Anil Tiwari also over the matter, who is the president of the Allahabad High Court Bar Association, and he in fact called the move unconstitutional.
It is absolutely unconstitutional. There is no two ways to it. I do not know which way the Supreme Court would interpret Constitution now, because interpreting Constitution only to serve the purpose of judges, I think is going to create enough rift between the people. And without people, the judiciary has no stand. The judiciary is completely standing on the foundations of the faith of the people. And the faith of people comes from the faith that the bar, that the advocates have on the judges. So I think that is going to be seriously affected. And judiciary is going to have very tough days ahead.
Right, sir. In fact, we're also being joined by Pradeep Singh, who is the co-chairperson of the UP Bar Council. And Mr. Pradeep, thank you for speaking to Republic. This is a huge deal, right? The fact that he's been administered the oath secretively. What is your first reaction to this? I think we have some network errors that we're facing with Pradeep Singh, who is the co-chairperson of the UP Bar Council, and we will circle back to him when these network errors are dealt with. However, viewers, remember, the Delhi Police Commissioner Sanjay Arora appeared before the probe panel in the Judge Cash scandal case just today. He was present before the committee for about 2 hours of robust questioning, cross-questioning and examining of the case. In fact, prior to Arora, the DCP Mahala's statement was also recorded for 4 long hours. The panel also additionally recorded statements of the additional DCP of the New Delhi district and the ACP of Chanakyapuri. Meanwhile, we've also learned from our sources exclusively that Justice Yashwant Varma has not only been transferred to his parent court, which is the Allahabad High Court, but also an oath has been administered to Justice Yashwant Varma, who took oath secretively. This entire event was kept under the wraps. And this now follows the anger which the High Court Bar Associations had not just collected, but also brought to the national capital just a few weeks back, demanding and standing against the transfer orders of Justice Yashwant Varma. However, from what we're learning, he's not just been transferred, but also he's taken oaths at the Allahabad High Court, which is his parent High Court. In fact, the Allahabad High Court Bar Association has also moved a notice over the matter, asking for why no prior notice was given to the Allahabad High Court Bar Association before the oath was administered. The president of the Allahabad High Court Bar Association, the one who is leading the protest from the front, has also condemned the move of oath-taking happening secretively. We're being rejoined by Pradeep Singh, who is the co-chairperson of the UP Bar Council. Sir, thank you for speaking to Republic. I apologize, there were some network errors before this. But your first reaction to the fact that secretively an oath was administered to Justice Yashwant Varma?
Madam, there is one thing, that matter is still in pending. So there is Supreme Court has done very rightly. Send him in the parent body, and it is right. The inquiry is still pending, so it is right path.
Right, sir. In fact, I also want to understand, since you were saying that this is the right path to have been taken since the inquiry is impending and he's not been pronounced guilty, of course. But there are other High Court Bar Associations who've condemned this move, including the Allahabad High Court Bar Association, that said that no prior notice was given to them about the entire oath-taking ceremony. The ceremony itself happened under wraps. It happened secretively. What is your take on that?
This is a procedure. It is a procedure how to take an oath, but it is some advocates are saying that protest against him. So it is a right path. The oath is taken in a chamber.
Right, sir. In fact, we're also being joined by our senior editor, Shravan Sen, who will take this conversation ahead. Shravan, please take it ahead. I think there are some network errors again. However, we are continuously joined by Pradeep Singh, the co-chairperson of the UP Bar Council. Sir, since we're also being joined by my colleague Akil, who is live in New Delhi and was also present at the time when the Delhi Police Commissioner was leaving after recording his statement. Akil, bring the entire matter to round for us.
Well, if you see, Geshu, what has happened that last evening at around 5:30 p.m., what we have seen that that the inquiry panel committee, which has been formed by CGI, Mr. Sanjeev Khanna, that committee which has basically recorded statements of Delhi Police Commissioner Mr. Sanjay Arora and the New Delhi District DCP Mr. Devesh Mehla. So in this regard, what we have seen earlier, if you see, the additional DCP of the New Delhi District, ACP of the Tughlaq Road Police Station and the SHO of Police Tughlaq Road Police Station was also present at the very spot where that incident took place on the intervening night of March 14th and 15th. So at this point in time, two crucial evidences were basically presented before the panel, because if you see, this panel is being headed by Chief Justice of Himachal Pradesh High Court and Chief Justice of Haryana and Punjab High Court and one of the judges from the Karnataka High Court. So the three-member panel committee has basically inquired about the details of the event with the Delhi Police Chief. So at this point in time, if you see earlier what we have seen, that not only the Delhi Fire Service Chief officials have basically denied regarding that whether cash stack was found from the bungalow of Mr. Yashwant Sinha at that point in time. Later on, he basically changed his position and he has said that the cash was found from the very residence of Justice Yashwant Varma. So at this point in time, the investigation is going on, but what actually was being asked by the inquiry committee to the Delhi police official is not into the public domain. But one thing is for sure, that regarding the development, that because if you see in this very case earlier, what we have seen, that the Delhi police team and the DFS team, Delhi Fire Service team, were among the first responders in this case.
Right, Akhil, thanks for getting us those details. Continue being with us. We're also being joined by our senior editor, Shravan Sen. Shravan, your first thoughts on what has unfolded, and also what are you learning, the latest developments in the case?
Take our viewers to the breaking news now coming in. You have the Allahabad High Court Bar Association objecting to what they are calling a secret oath that was administered to Justice Varma. In fact, the letter has now been put out. They are protesting. In fact, they've written to the Chief Justice of Allahabad High Court, and I'm quoting from this, where they're saying that after finding prima facie credible evidence against Justice Yashwant Varma, an in-house inquiry has already been set up, and we are given to understand that the same is being conducted on a war footing so as to ensure that evidence is not tampered or destroyed. Justice must not only be done, it should also seem to be done. They're objecting to the fact that there is a secret oath. They're calling it a secret oath that was administered to Justice Varma. This comes at a time when you have a three-member internal inquiry committee looking into the allegations, grave allegations that have been leveled against Judge Varma here. Justice Varma faces allegations of cash, unaccounted cash that was recovered from his residence in the national capital. This after a fire broke out in the storeroom where the cash was recovered. What is not known is the amount of cash here, and that is the reason why there was a growing chorus for a criminal investigation to take place. In fact, a short while back, you've had Anil Tiwari of the High Court Bar Association from Allahabad joining us, condemning this entire move, demanding that this should not have happened, demanding accountability at this point in time, and they saying justice should be seen to be done.
Yeah. Viewers, after Anil Tiwari, the president of the High Court Bar Association in Allahabad, took against the decision of the Supreme Court for administering the oath to Justice Yashwant Varma, the High Court Bar Association has now also voiced its dissent univocally.
Mr. Tiwari, once again, a massive furor about what is happening right now in Allahabad. Allahabad High Court Bar Association alleging that there was a secret oath that was administered to Justice Varma, when the entire nation has been completely aghast by what we saw of unaccounted cash being recovered from Judge Varma's residence. What has essentially happened, even before an internal inquiry report has been submitted before the Supreme Court, the oath has already been administered. It certainly sends across a wrong message. We'll just try and see if we can go across to our guests who are joining us on this broadcast. I'm not very sure whether the audio line is fine or not. The big breaking news now coming in, breaking right now. Mr. Vivek Reddy of the Karnataka High Court Bar Association is also joining us on this broadcast. Mr. Reddy, outrage over what we are seeing right now happening in Allahabad. You have Justice Varma being administered oaths there. The High Court Bar Association calling this a secret oath that is being administered.
Well, I think such a development is very unfortunate in our system, where oath should be addressed in public, and there should be acknowledgement of this oath by the people there who are sitting there. It is unprecedented that this has happened in private, despite the opposition of the bar, despite the opposition of public, and despite the opposition of all the stakeholders. I think the Supreme Court should have taken a relook at this situation. This has become more embarrassing now. This has become something which has nationally been noticed by lawyers and people, and it is such a embarrassing situation that it has come to this state. I think Mr. Anil Tiwari, the president of the Allahabad Bar Association, is echoing the views of the members of the Allahabad Bar that this oath in secrecy should not have been done. And if at all the oath had to be given, it only had to be given after the public interest litigation regarding not to take oath was decided. I think
Mr. Reddy, can I just intervene here? Can I just intervene here, because there is a section.
We feel very sad that it has come to this, and I don't think there was a necessity for Mr. Yashwant Varma also to take this oath in secrecy or in some confidentiality. I think this is very, very unfortunate.
But Mr. Reddy, what would you tell those?
Shortly.
Mr. Reddy, what would you tell those who have been arguing that this is as per protocol, there is nothing wrong in it? The fact that the Supreme Court has decided that no judicial assignment will be given to Justice Varma, so why the outrage in the first place? What would you tell those who have been arguing on this front?
Well, you were not very audible to me, but one thing that we notice is that usually the normal course when a judge comes from a different high court, the normal method that is followed in every high court for judges who come from other high courts and who take oath on transfer is that there is a oath-taking ceremony which is witnessed by the entire bar with the judges. And then there is a welcome to the judge. Now, these things are not going to happen in Justice Varma's case in view of the decision of the Allahabad Bar Association to boycott his proceedings and to boycott his oath-taking ceremony. But there was no necessity to do it in a chamber or do it in private. I think the Chief Justice ought to have taken the members of the bar into confidence and then gone ahead with this. But this is unprecedented, that despite the opposition of the bar, this is going on. This is going to create more ruckus in future. And there has to be a way to build consensus. I think they should have waited.
Mr. Reddy, I think so. Anil Tiwari is also joining us on this broadcast. Mr. Reddy, I'll request you to stay on with us, because a lot of people are now watching what is happening right now, and for them to understand that whether this was part of a protocol, whether this was inevitable, we need to understand this. Anil Tiwari, the Allahabad High Court Bar Association President, also joining us. तिवारी जी, जब लोग कहते हैं कि ये प्रोटोकॉल है, इसमें आखिरकार क्या हर्ज है, तो आप उनको क्या कहेंगे? रेड्डी साहब भी यही कह रहे थे कि आके सवाल उठाया जा रहा जिस तरह से एडमिनिस्टर किया गया ओथ को।
भाई, प्रोटोकॉल वाली जो बात कही जा रही है वो मेरी समझ में ये नहीं आ रहा किस माइंडसेट से सोच रहे हैं लोग। प्रोटोकॉल में ये कहां लिखा है कि लॉयर्स को इन्फॉर्म नहीं किया जाएगा? बिल्कुल प्रोटोकॉल है, बिल्कुल ओथ होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि जज विदाउट जुडिशियल फंक्शन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ने कभी समझा नहीं, सोचा नहीं। आज जब नया चीज है, ए जज इज देयर बट ही विल नॉट डिस्चार्ज हिज जुडिशियल फंक्शन। सरप्राइज है मुझे हो रहा है उन लोगों की सोच पर। वो जज कैसे कह रहा है? ही इज सिंपली एन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ऑफिसर। तो ओथ किस बात की? प्रोटोकॉल है, प्रोटोकॉल को गलत समझा जा रहा है। बेसिक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का कंसेप्ट है कि जज को ओथ लेनी है बिकॉज ही हैज टू डिलीवर जजमेंट्स। Then there is a protocol. A judge without judicial work is not a judge. He is only an administrative officer. An administrative officer is not supposed to subscribe oath. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का शेड्यूल 3 का क्लॉज 8 कोई पढ़ता क्यों नहीं? उसमें जज लिखा हुआ है। ये कैसी बात करते हैं लोग?
अनिल
बहुत अनफॉर्चुनेट है कि बार एसोसिएशन एक चैरियट का जो 2 पहिए हैं, एक बार एंड बेंच, एक चैरियट का एक पहिया तो बोल्डली, लाउडली, क्लियरली बोल रहा है कि संविधान बचाना चाहता है, न्यायपालिका बचाना चाहता है।
क्या आप कह रहे हैं कि ये संविधान का कत्ल किया जा रहा है? जो लोग आज ये सवाल उठा रहे हैं इस पूरे मामले को लेकर, कुछ लोग ऐसे भी हैं ये कह रहे कि देखिए इंटरनल इंक्वायरी खत्म तो होने दे, खत्म होने से पहले आप सवाल उठा रहे जस्टिस वर्मा के ऊपर। क्या आप मानते हैं जिस तरीके से आज ओथ लिया गया है एक तरह से कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का कत्ल किया गया है?
कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को फाड़ के फेंक दिया गया है। कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को फाड़ दिया गया है। दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है ये, बहुत अफसोसनाक है। देखिए मैं पहले अपनी बात क्लियर कर रहा हूं, लोग कंफ्यूज हो रहे हैं, 2 इश्यूज को मिक्स कर रहे हैं। 2 इश्यूज मिक्स मत करिए प्लीज, 2 चीजों को समझने की कोशिश करें लोग। मैं इसीलिए बहुत क्लियर लैंग्वेज में बात करता हूं। एक जज साहब ट्रांसफर होते हैं, वो आते हैं, ओथ लेते हैं और जुडिशियल वर्क डिस्चार्ज करते हैं। इसमें हमें कोई एतराज नहीं। ये दिस मैन इज ट्रांसफर्ड एज ए जज विदाउट एनी जुडिशियल फंक्शन. That order that he will not discharge judicial function is not passed by Bar Association. It is passed by system, passed by the CGI, the Collegium. So now it is clear that Mr. Yashwant Varma is coming without judicial function. Now please go through that clause जो उसमें oath में लिखा हुआ है. I so and so appointed as a judge of this court, भगवान के नाम पे ओथ ले रहा हूं, ये है। ये 2 बातें एक साथ एग्जिस्ट नहीं कर सकती। या तो वो जज जुडिशियल फंक्शन के साथ है तभी ओथ होगी, या नहीं होगी। इनको ओथ दिलाया गया, फिर से पब्लिक ट्रस्ट पर चोट पहुंचाई गई। हिंदुस्तान की हिस्ट्री में ये पहला मौका है, इलाहाबाद की कम से कम हिस्ट्री में पहला मौका है, जब एक जज साहब की ओथ छिपे हुए तरीके से दिलाई गई। बार को इन्फॉर्म नहीं। हाँ, ये बात सही है, बार ने बायकॉट किया था, लेकिन क्या बार को बायकॉट के बाद भी क्या हम उस रथ के पहिया नहीं है, चैरियट के हम दूसरे व्हील नहीं है? ये हमने नहीं कहा, ये तो न्यायालय कहता है कि बार एंड बेंच आर 2 व्हील्स ऑफ a same chariot. Now where is that chariot? That chariot wants to go on a single wheel. बार को माइनस करके न्यायालय चल सकते हैं क्या? किस तरह से न्यायालय चलाने की बात की जा रही है इस सिस्टम में? इतना किस बात का डर है कि छिपे हुए तरीके से ओथ ली गई? क्या डर था? मैं तो ये पूछ रहा हूं ना, डर किस बात का है? क्यों छिपे हुए तरीके से ली गई? भाई क्या बार वहां जाके बवाल करने वाली थी? आप बार के इतिहास में पूछ लीजिए, यहां पे एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन से पूछ लें। हम लोगों ने एक सिंगल न्यूसेंस किसी को क्रिएट नहीं करने दिया, सिंगल। उसके बाद भी नीचे, अच्छा हमें नहीं बताया, हमारे यहां के जजेस को नहीं पता। बार में जब हम लोगों ने इंफॉर्मेशन मीडिया के जरिए आने लगी तो नीचे हम लोगों ने रजिस्ट्री में पूछा। रजिस्ट्री के सीनियर ऑफिसर्स ने कहा कि उनको कुछ नहीं मालूम, जबकि वो 10 बजे से पहले हो चुकी थी। क्यों झूठ बोला गया? Something is wrong. कुछ ना कुछ तो कहीं गलत है,
बहुत बड़ी आरोप
सिस्टम खुद महसूस कर रहा है। इसलिए मेरा विरोध है। आप मेरा प्रोटेस्ट देखिए, मैंने अभी हम लोग का जो रिजोल्यूशन है पढ़िए, उसको कितना डिटेल रिजोल्यूशन किया
जी, क्योंकि मैंने आज आपके रेजोल्यूशन मैंने पढ़ा है और एक बहुत बड़ा आरोप आप ये लगा रहे हैं कि रजिस्ट्री जानबूझकर हाईकोर्ट बार एसोसिएशन को ये नहीं बताना चाहती थी कि ओथ लिया गया कि नहीं, और आखिरकार ऐसा क्यों? क्योंकि जब भी कोई जज का ओथ लिया जाता है, ये माना जाता है कि लॉयर्स को इन्फॉर्म किया जाता है, बार एसोसिएशन को इन्फॉर्म किया जाता है। इस मामले में आप कह रहे हैं कि कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन आपको नहीं दिया गया था?
जी हाँ, कोई इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं। पूछने पे, ओथ होने के बाद, ओथ अगर 10 बजे के पहले हुई है तो हम लोगों ने 12 साढ़े 12 बजे के आसपास पूछा है रजिस्ट्री से। रजिस्ट्री ने कहा उन्हें कुछ नहीं पता। सीनियर ऑफिसर से पूछा है, सब ने कहा हमें कुछ नहीं पता। वो तो जब हाईकोर्ट की वेबसाइट पे अमेंडमेंट आया रोस्टर का, जजेस की लिस्ट का, तब हम लोग को मालूम चला है कि जो बात उड़ रही है वो सही है। We came to know from the notification issued by the system, by the High Court in their portal, on their portal.
Right.
तब हमें मालूम चला।
अनिल जी, मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि आप जुड़े रहे, क्योंकि कई सारे बार एसोसिएशन इस वक्त हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं, क्योंकि आपके रेजोल्यूशन को लेकर लोग ये भी पूछ रहे हैं कि आखिरकार ऐसा क्या हो गया था कि छुपाने की बात आ गई। We are also joined by our legal editor, Rhythm Anand Bhardwaj, who's joining us on this broadcast. Rhythm, Republic TV first breaking the information about the Delhi Police Commissioner whose statement has been recorded. And now the Allahabad High Court Bar Association, Rhythm, has leveled a damning allegation of the fact that they were not even informed about Justice Varma's oath-taking ceremony.
Absolutely. I want to just here go across to all the presidents of the bar associations that are joining this broadcast with Shravan and me. We're also now joined, as we are speaking, by DK Jain, president of the Madhya Pradesh High Court Bar Association from Jabalpur. Mr. DK Jain, we just heard Anil Tiwari. We can hear the pathos and the aggrievement that the bar is feeling, not only in Allahabad, but across India, where we've spoken to people. Your first thoughts as the Madhya Pradesh High Court Bar Association on this escalation and this secret oath that has been administered to Justice Varma, sir?
Yes. ये बड़ी शर्म की बात है कि आज के न्याय के इतिहास में ये बड़ा काला दिन है कि एक जज की ओथ हो रही है, बड़े छुपाव करके ओथ हो रही है और लोगों को पता ही नहीं है कि जज की ओथ हो रही है। ना वो खुद ये इस बात के प्रति न्यायपालिका भयभीत थी कि हम जो कर रहे हैं वो गलत कर रहे हैं। वास्तव में अगर इनकी ओथ ये तो काला कोट पहनते, काला कोट, इनको तो काला मुखौटा भी आ गए ऊपर, काला इनके चेहरे पे एक मुखौटा आता है, मुखौटा भी लगा लेना चाहिए इनको। है ये पब्लिक के बीच में क्या संदेश देना चाह रहे हैं क्या? कैसे जज को जिसके प्रति, जिसके पास करोड़ों अरबों रुपए ब्लैक मनी पाया गया है और उसको कोई पब्लिक जिनके खिलाफ कह रही है कि इनके खिलाफ प्रोसिक्यूशन होना चाहिए, वो कुछ नहीं और उनकी ओथ कर रहे हैं आप और वो भी बिगड़ बताया कर रहे हैं। गलत बात, बहुत शर्मनाक बात है ये तो।
बिल्कुल। तो व्हाट एक्शन शुड बी टेकन? आपको क्या लगता है, आप क्या एक्शन लेंगे? आप इनका यूनिफाइड साथ देंगे? क्या आप लोग सोच रहे हैं एक बार फिर सुप्रीम कोर्ट को जाना चाहिए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सामने अपनी मांगे रखनी चाहिए?
देखिए, अब हम अपने जो हमारे हाईकोर्ट बार प्रेसिडेंट, ऑल इंडिया हाईकोर्ट बार प्रेसिडेंट है, उनके साथ बैठक करेंगे और जो जॉइंटली जो भी निर्णय आएगा उसका हम लोग सब इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट बार के साथ है। निश्चित तौर पे बहुत गलत किया जा रहा है इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट बार के साथ, ये बहुत गलत किया यार। देखिए, लोग कह रहे हैं कि वो इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट के ही जज हैं। ठीक है, इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट के जज हैं और उनको वहां वो अगर कोई व्यक्ति आज की तारीख में अगर मान लो जैसे कोई लड़की की शादी होती है और शादी होके बारात वहां चली जाती है, ससुराल चली जाती है, तो उसके बाद अगर उसके साथ कोई आपत्ति विपत्ति आए तो बोले फिर उसके बाद उसको मरने की स्थिति में आए तो वहां से कर देना, ये तो गलत बात है। आज की तारीख में अगर वो सम्मानजनक स्थिति में हो तो ट्रांसफर कर देते, कोई बात नहीं। जब वो आरोपों से घिर गए हैं, उनके ऊपर ये आरोप लग गया है कि वो भ्रष्ट हैं, तो ऐसी स्थिति में हाईकोर्ट की कोई मर्यादा होती है, उन वकीलों का सम्मान है। इसका मतलब ये है कि वो समझते हैं कि जो उनका हमारे हाईकोर्ट बार प्रेसिडेंट श्री अनिल तिवारी जी का मत है कि आप हमको कचरे का डिब्बा समझ रहे हैं क्या, है कि वो कहीं के लायक नहीं, तो हमारे इसमें पड़क में क्यों? गलत बात है ये।
बिल्कुल। I want to also get across Karnataka High Court Bar Association, Mr. Vivek Reddy, who's with us. Mr. Reddy, we saw all of you come out very hopeful after meeting the Collegium in the Supreme Court a few days ago. Today, when Anil Tiwari says that we are shocked that he was administered this secret oath, what are your thoughts on that meeting that you had with the Collegium? Do you feel that that meeting had gone well that day? Why do you feel then this action has now been taken? Sir, I think you're mute. If you can unmute yourself, please.
We were assured by the Collegium when Mr. Tiwari ji, Mr. DK Jain, and all of us met the Collegium. We were assured that that Justice Yashwant Varma will not be given any judicial work. That was what was stated. And I do not know the exact position regarding grant of judicial work. I think that stays. They have not granted any judicial work. But I'm really, our concerns are with the Allahabad Bar Association, because they had to be intimated. It's a matter of protocol that a judge's oath has to be intimated, and it has to be widely publicized, and the oath has to be taken. But without intimation to the president, if the oath has taken place, this is a breach of protocol, and this is not right. And there is no necessity for our institutions to go to the extent of administering a secret oath. It has to be done in public. Well, on that we are very clear. And our Mr. Anil Tiwari ji and all of us are planning a big event in Allahabad. Mr. Anil Tiwari ji is organizing an event on judicial accountability and transparency. I think this will, all Bar Association presidents in India will be meeting in this huge conference, and we will be thrashing out all these issues, including the situations prevalent in various high courts in India with respect to corruption in judiciary, transparency in judiciary. And we are also concerned about one very important thing. Despite this event having occurred since the past 15 days, perhaps from March 21st, this has blown into national headlines. It's about 13 to 14 days since then. But still, we are waiting for the Supreme Court. This is what we told the Collegium. See, this is a very important phase in the evolution of Indian judiciary. When we have seen such shocking incidents, what is the Collegium going to do, and what are the Supreme Court judges going to do in order to ensure that this does not happen in future? This is what me, Anil Tiwari ji, DK Jain ji, and all presidents of high courts are asking. We are asking them, please, there has to be an end to this. If this is happening, then you have to do something to ensure that there is accountability and transparency for the future. Why don't you chart a course for the future? Why doesn't the Supreme Court not constitute a constitution bench to sit and decide on how accountability standards are to be laid down? And where the buck stops, we believe that the buck stops with the Collegium, because the Collegium system was placed by the Supreme Court by its judgments. Therefore, the buck stops at the Collegium. The Collegium just cannot appoint judges and leave the accountability alone. The Collegium will have to appoint and also hold judges accountable. So they will have to lay down judicial standards of accountability. Because unlike other countries, such as USA and England, there is no counter check and balance. We have allowed the executive to be immune from our system. That is okay, fine. If that is a way to ensure there is independence of judiciary, still you must have certain inbuilt systems. There is no such system, and even if such shocking events are happening, the Supreme Court is not moving for such a system. Well, this is where we are concerned. This is very serious.
I completely agree.
And all chief justices after retirement say, no, the judiciary should have been better. The institution should be better. This is what they say, but what are they doing when they are chief justices? That is why Anil Tiwari ji and all of us want to launch this movement to ensure that there is transparency in judiciary, and there may be a necessity that all of us will have to speak in one voice and collectively sit and stand in dharna in one voice to ensure that there is accountability in judiciary.
I want you to please explain further, and I also want Mr. Tiwari to come in here. Mr. Tiwari, it seems long conversations between you and Mr. Reddy have happened. What is this dharna? Before I go across to former Supreme Court Bar Association head, Mr. Adesh Agarwal, joining us also on this broadcast. And as I welcome you on this Saturday afternoon, Mr. Adesh Agarwal, I want you also, sir, to hear what Anil Tiwari of the Allahabad High Court is telling us. It will become a very serious situation if all the high courts around the country plan to sit in dharna, which I think is eventually going to happen if secret oaths are administered to judges against whom there are cash scandals that are being investigated. So, Mr. Tiwari, I first ask you then, what are your next steps? Is it going to finally be a dharna, a protest that will possibly lead to some change like Mr. Reddy was talking about in the system?
We have already planned that it is in the pipeline. We are holding a national conference on 26 April in Allahabad, in which we will be meeting all the presidents of the Bar Association throughout country will meet at Allahabad, along with so many persons, other stakeholders like journalists, say retired Supreme Court judges, सभी को हम बुला रहे हैं और 26 तारीख को ये नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस इलाहाबाद में होने जा रही है। इनविटेशन कार्ड इशू हो चुके हैं, सभी को पहुंच रहे हैं, सभी को इन्फॉर्म कर रहे हैं। हम लोग पूरी तैयारी है हमारी। 26 तारीख को हिंदुस्तान में एक आवाज होगी, जो आवाज पब्लिक की होगी और सारे हाई कोर्ट बार एक साथ एक प्लेटफॉर्म पर खड़े होंगे। और अगर ये कॉन्फ्रेंस का ये पहला चैप्टर है जो इलाहाबाद में, अगला चैप्टर हर हाई कोर्ट में हर स्टेट में शुरू होगा। जवाब देना पड़ेगा सुप्रीम कोर्ट सिस्टम को, जवाब देना पड़ेगा जनता को। हम जनता हैं, जनता की हमने बनाया देश, आज देश हमने बनाया है, आज हमारे ही अधिकार छीने जा रहे हैं। मेरा कंसर्न यशवंत वर्मा नहीं है, मेरा कंसर्न है पब्लिक फेथ। मैं उसको बचाने की कोशिश, हमारी ये मुहिम है। मिस्टर रेड्डी हैज ऑलरेडी ज्वाइंड मी। हम लोगों ने 7 प्रेसिडेंट ने सीबीआई से एक साथ मुलाकात की थी, और आपको ये भी बता दूं, ये 7 के 7 प्रेसिडेंट इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट के सिर्फ मीडिया के थ्रू रिक्वेस्ट देने पर ये अपने खर्चे से लाखों रुपए खर्च करके वो दिल्ली आए थे। किसी ने उनको पैसा नहीं दिया था, इसलिए कि वो डीपली इन्वॉल्व है इस जुडिशियल सिस्टम के साथ। उनको तकलीफ पहुंची है, अपना काम छोड़ के वो दिल्ली पहुंचे थे। और हम लोग 26 तारीख के बाद हमारा अगला मूवमेंट किसी न किसी स्टेट में जल्दी से जल्दी हम लोग इस कॉन्फ्रेंस को रिपीट करेंगे, पब्लिक डिबेट करेंगे थ्रू आउट इंडिया।
Bilkul. And as a public debate is being looked at, Adish Agarwal, your first comments on this call, a united call that is coming forward, a united call from all the High Court Bar Associations that say we want the system to be set right. And if not only are there going to be a national conference, but this is just the first step. We are ready to even sit on dharna. Adish Agarwal.
Rightly, Mr. Tiwari had fixed the date, very correct date, because by that time, the inquiry committee, the in-house committee report will come, and whatever action, criminal action, by that time, the Chief Justice of India will be ordering. As regards the taking oath, this is a constitutional requirement. Once a judge has been transferred, he has to be a judge of some court, and he has gone to his own court. The High Court of Allahabad, they have boycotted. That is good step they have taken. But the national conference is a good step so that a policy can be decided by the lawyers about the working of the judges and also how to deal with this type of situation. It is nothing wrong in administering the oath of a judge to his parent body, but lawyers also have the right to appear before him or not to appear before him. Bar Association has rightly taken decision to hold, but I'm sure this in-house committee report will come within 4 or 5 days, and then Chief Justice of India will be most probably referring the matter to register a case to the police or CBI.
Are you privy to what is happening, sir, in the case? Because you've given us 2 details. In the last 2 sentences, you've said, one, that the inquiry committee report will be coming out in the next 4 or 5 days. And second, you've also stated that there could be a possible registration of the case.
100% registration of FIR has to be there. Whether it is on the ground that the judge was having the ill-gotten money, or whether the money was planted by somebody. 100%, because the in-house committee can't decide the issue of these things which is of criminal nature. In-house committee will be deciding that there was abnormal thing and whether what action should be taken and what should be done. That report will be given by in-house committee.
Fantastic. We are looking forward to that. And I want to thank each and every one of the guests who've joined us this afternoon. This is the top focus, Mr. Anil Tiwari. On the 22nd, we're going to keep up the focus. And this is something we're going to see because Justice Varma has been given a secret oath. That inquiry committee report is being taken. But the bigger questions of accountability, like Mr. Vivek Reddy raised and Dr. and Mr. D.K. Jain also stated, will have to be looked at. Thank you, Dr. Agarwal, for joining us. This is the top focus only on Republic TV, and we shall continue getting you this coverage first and exclusively right here on Republic TV.